want to take you through some other use of objects and placing objects together in a background or in a montage or in a grouping. I have here a picture that you can open up. It's in your packet in the file, and here's the arch, one of the arches featured in southern Utah. And I'm going to add to this a number of objects that have already been cut out and are ready to be put into this picture as was part of a story or a poster or a magazine article lead or something that is going to require the attention of a graphic designer to put some elements together. I'm going to show you this second page, this collection, and on this page there's cutout images. This is the Wright brothers plane, and it's been totally cut out right down to the struts and the cables. This is the Spirit of St. Louis. This is a Flying Eagle. This is a desert strong wagon that the Army uses to transport people around in. This is the cook from an animation movie. This is the bottle of Coca-Cola. And this is that same bottle with a little notch cut out, and I'll show you why that's been cut out. If I wanted to use one of these objects, let's say I wanted to take the eagle. Over here in this layer, I go to in the layers, I go to the eagle layer and I take the magic wand tool and I click on the negative space. Now you notice I didn't pick up all the little kind of spaces inside. So I go to select and I hit similar. Not similar layers, but just similar. And it picks up all the little inside. Now I've got all the negative space all around this eagle and then even through it. Now I go to select and say inverse. And so instead of taking on the negative space, it takes the positive space that is that eagle. Now I copy the eagle to the clipboard on the computer. Command C copies. I'm going to go back to that picture, that arch, and I'm way up here on top. I'm going to put a new layer, and I'm going to call that layer Add the Eagle. And then I'm going to hit Command V as in Victor and paste it in there. And there's the eagle. So that's how I take it off of one place where I have used, or in this case I processed this eagle. I'm going to turn off the bounding box so we can see it. I processed the eagle. I virtually cut it out all around the feathers, all around the feet, everywhere, and took away all of the background and had just the eagle left. And then I placed all that information on this page. Here's each one is a separate object. Matter of fact, this one has an object that has a shadow to it. So there's two objects involved here. But I can take any of these objects and select them, the negative, then the positive. Well, the negative, the similar, then transfer it from select to inverse and get the positive. And then Command C that, go back to the image that I'm working with, Command V, put it on its own layer, and there it is. And now you can move it around, you can place it anywhere you want to. You got it flying through the arch if you want to, sort of in and out, half and half. Whatever you want to do, wherever you want to put it, that's fine. Now, in that case, then, I'm going to turn off this eagle and show you some of the other things that I've put in this area. For one thing, there's the arch. Now, the Coke bottle, the part that was sort of cut away, I virtually drew a line around this edge of the rock down to here and came back on itself and closed, and that became the cookie cutter that notched away that Coke, so it looks like it's behind the rock and sitting back there. I put in the MRAP vehicle sitting on the rocks here, and I put a shadow, another layer to it. It's transparent. The shadow is about 56% opacity, so you can still see rock through there, but the shadow is helping the truck sit on the rock. For being in the air, here's that Wright Flyer, and you can see it's been totally carefully cut out, so every strut, every cable is visible, and he's flying up in the air over the top of and just behind this arch. I added the cook from Ratatouille, and he's just standing out there in his again cut out all by himself. I did add a cook shadow, a little shadow here across the bottom, so that the sun pretty much overhead is giving him some attachment to those rocks. Then I added the eagle. We've seen him, he's flying off past the archway. I put in the Spirit of St. Louis, made it smaller, and it's flying back in the background. We've got a lot of air things happening in this picture. Now, I wanted the word gathering, and I put the word gathering in the same color as these rocks, but it's hard to read. So I worked gathering, and I made a cutout of the letters here. If I take these letters on that layer, gathering, and take my magic wand tool and select the G. Now, only that layer is active, so nothing else is going to show up. And then I say select similar, all the other letters show up. Then I can cut a hole and paste it on, and what I did is I made another gathering, and there it is with the cut I made of the rocks. And to that gathering I added these filters down here, a drop shadow on off, a outer glow that helps illuminate a little bit, and the bevel and emboss. So by doing that, the word now is somewhat subtle there, and you can read it, but it's part of the rock and part of the dirt background. Or over the top of that, I can put the gathering word, and it now has somewhat of a bevel, somewhat of a shadow, but actually I'm going to leave that alone just like that. There's the other eagle I added, but I don't need to put him back in because the original eagle was still there. Now all of these elements and the word gathering is a separate type situation, but all of these other elements came from this image collection that has the images already cut out and put on this page. Generally they'll come from their own page. You know, the page with just the cook on it, and you select the negative space, and there isn't any other little holes in here to see, and then you go to select and say inverse. Now you have him, Command C, you capture these things one at a time on the clipboard, and then when you Command V paste it, he's now in the other picture. The next time you take the eagle, that takes the one and only place on the clipboard. These things don't add up on the clipboard. They're there one at a time, and you paste them back and forth. If I was going to get the right flyer, you see that's a little more complicated. Command D takes the off of him, but I'm going to go to the right flyer, and I'll say, you know, give me all the negative space. Now it's all the space around here, but none in the middle, so that's why I go to select and say similar. Now you see it picks up all that negative space inside there. And then when I turn it on to inverse, now it's picked up all the struts and everything that's there. Command C that, go to the other picture, Command V as in Victor, place it, and it's there with all of its struts and everything that you can see. So this is a collection. This is a grouping of objects or images or something that you can get your storyline in line with. I don't know why the cook and the just stuff I had cut out and put in here, but this becomes that collage then that is useful for whatever storyline you're going to tell. Here's another thing that's kind of fun with Photoshop. Let me turn all this stuff off. I have a picture here of that arch again, all by itself, out in the mountains of southern Utah. Now, I can turn that off, and I've cut away the background on the inside and the outside, so there isn't anything other than the arch there. Then I can add, you know, a color background, and it sort of says, okay, there's the arch. But what if I added the ocean? Now that arch has been flooded, or the ocean has come inland, or something has happened, and the arch is now near a large body of water. And that's not true, but Photoshop can make it so. And we could add some people sitting on the beach or a boat out in the water, whatever you wanted to do. But this is another way. Now the rock has been treated, the whole thing has been treated as a shape, because I've cut it out, and some of it, of course, is coming off the bottom of the picture here, but then the image of the ocean. Now if I take that away, I have, you know, that beach scene, but when I put the rocks over it, now I have a picture that isn't real, but is some imagination there and contained. So what I want you to do with your thing is to take the objects that I've shown you on that page with all of the collections, and open the arch and turn it all off and just have the arch picture, and then put these things in as you would want to put them in. You kind of have to put the truck on the dirt here, but you can rearrange the airplanes and the eagle and maybe put the Coke bottle someplace else and move him around and make your own version of this objects project. It'd be project 15, and see what you can do with your arrangement with these objects. If you want to put your own objects there and you want to go to Google and say, you know, remember I did the pear thing, you might want to do a banana and open a banana and cut away the background and process it through and get it into a position where you can select just the banana and put it in there in a picture. Give it a try. That's how you learn, by experimenting. And once you experiment and it works for you, then it's now a learned technique.